We're told that in the first pasuk, Ela toldot Noach, Noach ish Tzadik tamim haya b'dorotav, eta Elohim hitalech Noach. That these are the generations of Noach. Noach was a righteous man. He was perfect in his generations, and Noach walked with God. And then the Mefarshim battle over if this is something that's supposed to be to his merit, or if this is something that's said that's disparaging about Noach. Like, was he a righteous man, period, in any generation, which some say yes, or was he a righteous man just in his generation? And they say, had he been born in the generation of Abraham, they said, he would be like nothing. He wouldn't reach the level of Abraham. Or they said, no, even then, he would have been great. So there's different opinions both ways, and I feel like you can learn it out either way. But there's an interesting thing that hit my eye, and it says that he was Ish Tzadik Tamim Hayab Dorotav, in his generations. So why is it plural in his generations? And I think, I used to look at the story of Noach and think, he started on such a high note as a tzaddik, and then it's really sad how at the end we see that he planted the vineyard and he got drunk and debased himself. And that was the way I used to look at it. But as I reflect on it further and as years go on, I'm seeing it in a different light. And I'm thinking that it really means that he was a tzaddik, he was a righteous man in the generations, in all of the generations, in every generation they lived. And Noach lived 950 years. So he lived through a few generations. And I think the text is trying to tell us, don't be mistaken. Even when you read the story at the end of the Parsha, where you'll be tempted to say that he had gone down so low, that if you really look at the story, that's not the case. That after the flood, when they came out of the ark, God told them to they should produce and they should multiply. They were supposed to repopulate. Noach and his sons were supposed to repopulate the earth. And the Pesukim go on to tell us that actually Shem, Cham, and Yafet, his three sons, did go on to populate the earth, but not so of Noach. And I think that we can really look at the Pesukim as trying to tell us that he was trying to repopulate the earth. Because if you look at the progression of the Pesukim, after they came out to Teva, God had commanded him to multiply and repopulate the earth. And then God continues to tell them how he will never go on to destroy all of the populace and all the animals or punish the land for man's misdeeds. But he finishes up after he explains, the covenant of the rainbow, and that this is a sign that despite how bad mankind gets, God will never do some form of destruction like this again. Then he reminds Noach and his sons another time to multiply and to fill the earth. And right after that, we're told this story of Noach, and it says, "Vayachal Noach, and Noach began." And then it says that he planted a vineyard and that he drank and he got drunk and he had exposed himself within the tent. And I really tend to believe that Noach wanted to make good on this commandment that God was telling him to repopulate the earth. And he had been through so much and to do everything that he did and to witness all the destruction of the earth. I don't think it was such an easy thing for him to have the will or desire to repopulate the earth, knowing what mankind, as God said, is Ramin or of, and he is just evil from his youth. And I think that was a difficult thing for Noach, and perhaps he planted the vineyard to be able to drink, to be able to relax himself, and to fulfill God's command. And I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing. So he drank, he got drunk, and he exposed himself within his tent, trying to fulfill this commandment. And it was bitoch ohala, within his own tent. It's not like he was out there on the open field. It was something that we're told is more of a private nature. And it was Cham who did the sin, however we want to interpret that. And I will be writing up something on what that sin was, but it wasn't Noach necessarily that went wrong. And we're so fast to judge Noach because there was a bad outcome, but not necessarily was what he did for a bad reason. And I think he was trying to walk with God, as we're told in the pasuk, that Ela todot Noach, Noach ish tzadik tamim haya b'dorotav, et Elohim hitalech Noach. With God, Noach walked b'dorotav, in all the generations. I think Noach wanted to walk in God's ways all throughout all of his life, in every generation, from the beginning to the end of his life. And I think that I now look at Noach differently, as he was a tzaddik from start to finish. He just had a hard life with a hard task. And let's try and judge people positively. If we can look at somebody and we have a choice and we're not sure whether to judge them fairly for the better or negatively for the worse, do it for the better. There's nothing to lose from that. Have Shabbat Shalom. Take care. God bless Ari Fold's memory forever. Shabbat Shalom.